Are you planning a trip to Charleston, South Carolina in the near future? Here are 5 things you need to know before you come. Hi, I'm the Seersucker guy, and I was a tour guide in Charleston, South Carolina for 20 years. I have given tens of thousands of tours to hundreds of thousands of visitors. And these are the 5 things I think you need to know before you come to town. Here's number 1. The number 1 thing you need to know before you visit is that it's hot in the summer. And I mean really hot. I mean cook an egg on the sidewalk kind of hot. Factor in the humidity and you're going to feel like you're in a sauna. It's hot. Now you might be thinking, Seersucker guy, I know it's hot in the summer. Yeah, okay, but I talked to all these people in the summertime and they knew it was hot too, and they complained about how hot and humid it is. Look, July, the average temperature is 88 degrees. There are 13 days above 90 and the record's 104. It's really hot. During the summer, when I would do ghost tours at night, I'd bring an extra shirt because I was soaked after the first tour and had to change to look a little more presentable. We were all sweating, even at night. We were sweating like sinners in church and probably smelled like farm animals. So if you're not sure you can handle all that heat and humidity of the summer, maybe try planning a trip in the spring or in the fall. April and May are beautiful. September, October, equally beautiful. Now I realize you might have kids or other things going on and you can't travel in the spring or the fall. Well, try to spend the hottest days that you're going to be in town at the aquarium, maybe visiting one of the museums, or maybe that's the day to be at the beach. Seriously. Heat exhaustion, heat stroke, they're no laughing matter. So if you have to come in the summer, don't forget to drink plenty of water, wear light, loose-fitting clothing, and put a hat on your head, maybe like this one. The second thing to remember about visiting Charleston, you are not going to be on a diet while you're here. Don't even try. There's way too much good food for you to sample while you're in town. Some of the things you're going to want to try while you're here include pork and brisket barbecue, all manner of fresh local seafood, and some of the best collards you've ever had in your life. Our barbecue is vinegar-based, has a nice tang to it, and there's plenty of places you can get it. There are 2 seafood items that you have to try while you're here. And the first is shrimp and grits. Shrimp has been a staple for Charleston meals throughout history. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, you get them right out of the local waters. For shrimp and grits, you saute them, add some bacon, maybe some tomatoes, make a roux, and pour it over grits. Now, I know what you're saying. You're saying, Seersucker guy, I don't like grits. Chances are you've never had proper grits. Grits do not come out of a box. My apologies to anybody who likes them that way. Stone ground corn, which is what grits are meant to be cooked for hours and hours with some milk, maybe some cream, a lot of butter. And the rule in the house is while the grits are cooking on the stove, if you go in the kitchen for anything, you got to stir the grits. And if they're getting thick, you got to add something to them. Shrimp and grits, you got to try it. It's offered as an appetizer if you don't want to make the big decision for a meal. But shrimp and grits, make sure you try it while you're here. The second thing is she crab soup. The she crab soup was invented in Charleston. President Taft was visiting, and he was going to have dinner with Mayor Rhett. Now, Mayor Rhett had a butler, a wonderful African cook named William Dees. William Dees already made a pretty good crab soup, but he knew President Taft's fondness for turtle soup. So he took his crab soup, he added the roe, the egg from the female crab, added a little bit of sherry, and she crab soup was born. President Taft loved it, took the recipe back to Washington, and had it served at several dinners. So there's the 2 seafood things you must try, shrimp and grits and she crab soup, available pretty much anywhere in Charleston. The third thing you need to remember when you visit Charleston is don't forget your walking shoes. Charleston's a walking city. Walk around the streets. They're beautiful. The houses are amazing. The gardens are stunning. The vistas are incredible. You've got gardens, ironwork, lots of things to see. You can walk up and down the streets. It's very safe. Make sure you bring your walking shoes. Maybe even bring 2 pair so you can switch them out from day to day. My opinion, but I think you need to leave the flip-flops at home or save them for the beach. Now, as an aside, Charleston sidewalks are a disaster. So please be careful as you walk around. Why are they a disaster? Well, we live in the sand. This area used to be marsh. And we have earthquakes and other things. They go up, they go down, there's cracks in them. Please be careful as you walk around, but do walk around. It's a walking town. The fourth thing you need to know before you visit Charleston is that you need to do a tour. Yes, there are several really good walking tour books and even some apps from your phone that do the job, but nothing, and I mean nothing, takes the place of a well-trained guide who's a great storyteller, is entertaining, and informative. Now, what type of tour you do is up to you. There are really three kinds of tours in Charleston, and they all have their advantages and disadvantages. A bus tour is a great way to see the city. You cover a lot of ground, and it's air conditioned. Don't forget point number one. But you do move at a faster pace, so it's harder to get good pictures, and it's really harder to talk about things in depth. The other way to see the city is a walking tour. Walking tours are great, usually about 2 hours. They cover a fair amount of ground, and you move, of course, at a slow pace, which allows you to get great pictures and also allows the guide to get into more in-depth discussions. The other good thing about walking tours is there's lots of them. You want to take a ghost tour? There's some of those. You want to take a general history tour? Got it. You want to take a garden tour? Covered. You want to do a food tour? Covered. You want to do some sort of specific history tour, like a Civil War tour, or a pirate tour, or a Revolutionary War tour? That's covered too. A nice balance between your bus tour and your walking tour is a carriage tour. I love a carriage tour. You get to ride around the city the same way people did a couple of 100 years ago. You go at a pace that's a little faster than walking, so you cover a fair amount of ground. The tours are only 1 hour. You get a lot of great pictures, and you have more time to hear stuff more in depth. Now, if you're thinking, okay, if it's hot in the summer, I'm not taking a carriage tour with those animals. The animals are fine, I promise. They're very well taken care of. The city has lots of regulations, and the carriage companies take care of their animals anyway. Visit any barn, and they will show you how well the animals are taken care of. Don't worry about the horses or the mules. In the summer, they're fine. And that brings us to the fifth thing you need to know before visiting Charleston. And the fifth thing you need to know before visiting Charleston is that you should spend some time outside the city. Yes, downtown Charleston is great. I think you should spend most of your time there. But there's plenty of things to do outside of the city. The number one thing to do, I think, would be to go visit a plantation. There are several plantations open for tours. Boone Hall Plantation focuses on history. It's a beautiful house. And then Middleton Place and Magnolia Gardens, they have beautiful gardens. Which one you go to depends on what type of garden you like. If you want a formal garden, that's Middleton. If you want a more casual garden, that's Magnolia. The other plantation that people really like to go to is Boone Hall. Now, you may have seen Boone Hall. It's been featured in several movies. It has this beautiful avenue of oaks as you lead up to the house. The other thing they focus on there is slave history. They have several slave cabins that are original to the place and still exist. They're open for you to go into, and they interpret a lot of slave history. The other plantation that talks about slave history is McLeod Plantation on James Island. That's all they talk about, and they do a good job of it. Other things you can do, you can go to Cypress Gardens and tour around out there. That's a really cool place to visit, and they film several movies out there. You could also take a tour out to Fort Sumter on a boat. That's a great way to get out in the water. It's a little cooler. Fort Sumter itself has got a lot of history to cover. Fort Moultrie on Sullivan's Island is available to get to by car. Now, you might be thinking, I didn't drive to Charleston. How do I get to these places? Well, some of the bus companies actually offer tours that take you out to the plantations. You can always Uber, and then you get out to Fort Sumter by boat. Okay, so let's recap. The 5 things you need to know before visiting Charleston, South Carolina. 1, it's really hot in the summer. 2, forget about your diet. 3, bring your walking shoes. 4, do a tour of some sort. And 5, don't forget to get outside of the city. We really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please click like and also subscribe because there are more videos coming. I'm the Seersucker Guy.